The second point is clearly innovation, innovative products, developing new things is clearly a fundamentally higher margin activity with greater levels of flexibility than a kind of transaction-based commoditized service. So, you have to address multiple of these threats and opportunities at once. The margins inside deals are variable, with infrastructure operations and whatever attracting very, very low margins within Europe these days. Project work and consulting still has relatively high margin. Top-end consultancy within boardrooms has still phenomenal levels of margin. So I don't see issues in the business landscape that's available to people. I see a major opportunity that might actually be stumbled over a little by the Indian culture as it develops to a kind of more robust, face-to-face, whites of the eyes kind of contribution culture, which I think has got to happen. And I think the branding and messaging that is starting to change has to actually accelerate to get away from being a commodity. And interesting, I saw over a couple of days a number of presentations only 2 weeks ago. The key theme for me out of the presentations, two of them were done by US global IT players, one by a European large-scale player, 3 of them by TCS, Wipro, Infosys. The key themes out of that were the European and US players were saying, yeah, we can do this innovation stuff, give us this job to do, and by the way, we'll make it cheap by doing labour arbitrage into India. The Indian pure plays were saying, well, that was yesterday's model. Of course, you get labour arbitrage anyway, because we're a low-cost country. But actually, look at all of this new quality, exciting technology, world-class leading innovation that you can hook into. Look at our schools, our universities, and the pool of educated people that you can hook into. That's a different story, and one that the likes of the Americans are actually going to take a very long time to catch up with, if they do at all.
Okay, Bernard, 2 questions. One, of course, I'm going to take up the point that the gentleman made about dealing, Indian entrepreneurs dealing with French companies which are typically government-owned. But before that, I mean, you yourself have set a target of doubling operating margins by 2009. How do you, could you sort of describe the task for us and what it's going to take?
Well, it's going to take, one of the initiatives is obviously to grow our business in India, and the plan that we've described is a plan to grow organically and to basically double, more than double our size here. We don't exclude, obviously, the acquisition route, and we don't exclude as well the partnership route. Even if in the past we have found that, and that's probably answering one of the questions, that partnering from a commercial point of view, when you don't have capital links, is very often proving difficult, particularly between Europe and India. At least that's our experience. So I think the acquisition route is probably a much safer route. As far as the question concerning France Telecom and government-owned company, I would say probably that the large historical telecom companies in Europe today, whether it's France Telecom or Dutch Telecom, first of all, have no choice but reduce their cost. And IT is one of the largest costs in the telecom company. And they have to do that because they are suffering from decrease of their traditional business. And the only way they are going to be able to do that in a significant way is to go to India. I mean, French-speaking countries are not sufficient to absorb all the work they have got to do. So yes, it's government owned, and the difficulty there, but it's a difficulty that you have even when the company is not owned by the government, is the fact when you move people outside a European country, it does create an issue with the people in the country. So you have either to redeploy them into other businesses, or you have to lay off people, which is always painful on the European market. Ourselves as a company, several years ago, we took over most of the IT workforce of KPN. So I think we have helped create KPN a great deal in reducing their cost. Now, second phase will be effectively to move some of the work to lower cost countries. So you've got to do things in steps. So it might sound difficult to offshore at a company like France Télécom, but I can promise, I think it will be done, and we'll see more and more work done for France Télécom outside France, in my view.
So if I were to sort of add another question to that, I mean, you've spoken about expanding in India, Brazil, and Malaysia. What are you looking at when it comes to expanding your presence? I mean, what sort of works for you and what doesn't?
Well, first of all, you need to in order to expand, you need to have your clients behind you. So we've been working on our client base. We have changed our governance model. So now, in each country where we operate, the CEO of the country has got an objective to take business to India and to other offshoring countries. Okay, so they have no choice. And I think that was very important. We have got now one management board member at the top of the company being in charge of India. And hopefully, if everything goes well, I would like to have an Indian on the management board of the overall company. That would be really the sign that we have been successful. So that's how we're going to do it. We're also looking at China, because we have presence in China. We'll do the Beijing Olympics in 2008. We've got 1,000 people in China doing local work. And China, no doubt, will become an offshore country. One comment I want to make is that when we move into a country, one, we don't like to be small. Second, I believe that to build up a sustainable business in any country, whether it's India or China, you need to have, alongside your international clients, a local client base. So it's also interesting for us, and it would be interesting to get views on that, to develop the local business.
Okay, we're going to talk about that. We're going to also try and address the issue of the opportunities in verticals and where both Indian companies see opportunity in Europe and vice versa in terms of clients outsourcing their business here. More questions and comments from the House. Yes. I think, is there a microphone? Yes.